We're going on Wednesday, and boy, is there a lot going down. It's not just Fauci in the news, but he, of course, that hearing with him was dominating everything as soon as the day got going today. And we got plenty. I've got plenty to say about that. I think my take's going to be a little different than some of the stuff you've heard so far today, and we'll get into that in a minute. I'm going to kind of punt on that. Trump is live right now. He is making some kind of announcement about Dulles Airport. They're doing a redo. Dulles is a mess if you've ever been through there, and it's just I don't know. It's so far out from the rest of town. I don't think that's a huge national consequence. Inevitably, though, he'll get into some Q&A with the reporters. This is one of those Oval Office sit-downs where he's at the Resolute desk. He's got people around him, and the media are standing there in the room. They ought to write him a Christmas card and thank him for all the access, because these guys basically have been able to stand in the Oval Office almost every day of their careers in this part of his presidency, and they never get to do that. I mean, the media never went in the Oval Office unless it was an address to the nation, or every now and then they'd get a one-on-one sit-down. But they're in there all the time now, like they're hanging out at Walmart. Anyway, we'll get into that here in just a minute. As we may have to go to it now, AJ. I just had a frog in my throat. What's going on with you, man?
Nothing much, man. Just a Wednesday.
I got to start with the most important story so far today, and that is our bear friend is still being cited over off 280. And people online have taken to calling him Shelby, which I thought about yesterday, but it was too easy, just because, he was spotted in Shelby County.
No, just Hank the Shelby Bear.
I'm still calling him Hank. We can call him Hank Shelby.
Yeah, there you go.
We know him as Hank.
Exactly.
Like some of y'all know Bruce Jenner as Bruce. Some of y'all know him as Caitlyn. I mean, It can be anything we want it to be. This is 2026. He can identify as Hank.
And plus, that's a young male, so Hank is a very strong.
Hank's a more masculine name,
yeah,
I would say. No slight to all you Shelbys out there.
Yeah, I mean, you might be some Shelbys out there. No.
Remember we used to work with Shelby Walker.
Yeah.
I used to love him. Okay. And what's funny is there's a little bit of a radio tie in it. I'm slightly jealous. Can I go ahead and admit it?
Yeah.
I was hoping to spot Hank because it's not too far from me, probably about 8-10 miles. So I'm hoping Hank makes it through my woods. I want to spot Hank. And you know who gets to spot him today?
Who?
Frickin' Bubba of Rick and Bubba.
Oh, really?
So Bubba, Bill was filling in for our friends Allison and Amy Beth. They've got a show that they produce over in Eagle Point. They've got an office building over there. I've been on their show with them. They got a cool little setup. But apparently when they were there this morning, I think it was Bill and his son were there this morning. Bear wandered up right behind that building where they were doing the broadcast, and they got a picture of him. Like, dang, man. I wanted to be the radio show with the exclusive on the Bear, and it was
but you do.
Huh?
But you do.
What do you mean?
Because we have the naming rights.
This is true. We declared we had the naming rights.
Right.
And we're calling
so it don't
Hank.
really matter to anybody. They can call him Shelby. No, he is Hank.
I'm with you.
The Bear.
Thanks for standing up for it.
So regardless if anyone cited him, He's are Hank. The ones who named.
Just put it out.
Yes.
And our friend Troy's wife made a bumper sticker for us. Shout out to Troy,
and his
former
wife.
colleague, and his wonderful wife. She made us a little bumper sticker with Hank the Bear and his 280 adventures.
There you go. See?
So if there are any more sightings today, certainly that will overtake us, because this Fauci thing was pure theater. And I'm just going to be real with y'all about it. The Fauci thing today was nothing but Washington professional wrestling, and I'm going to break that down here in just a minute. But here's this little nugget, too. This is some fresh stuff. I don't want to just retread things at 2 o'clock that you've been hearing all day. There was an earthquake in Atlanta today. Did y'all hear about this? It was small. It was a 2.3 on the first measurement. But that is very rare, very unheard of. It was in Gwinnett County, which is north of Atlanta. And I think some people felt it. You could be in your car and probably not really feel a 2.3 if you're already in motion. But if you were standing still or in a house, you might hear some dishes rattling. That's not going to do any damage. And this could be like the shark bite summer when the sharks were biting everybody, and they said they were, and we're just paying attention to it. But there have been a lot of earthquakes, y'all. I'm getting a little heebie-jeebies about it. I told y'all when I was driving after I left Amarillo that morning, there was a 5.3 near us in Amarillo, and I didn't even feel it. I think it was just because we were in an RV, not a house. If we'd been in a stick-built house, I think we'd have probably noticed it. So it was 5:30 in the morning. So we've had them on either side of us. And somewhere yesterday I read that there had been 18 around the world. There have been 18 quakes in excess of a 5.0 in different parts of the world. And of course, we had a huge one in Japan yesterday that we didn't even really get into talking about, but it did major structural damage. A whole mall collapsed. All kinds of fires started being set. So a lot of tectonic activity around the world, and we are paying attention to it. All right, before Trump starts taking questions, let me get my quickest take I can give you about Fauci. I could go through all of the lies he told, all of the fraud that happened during that period, but we've done that since then. In the immediate, if you were listening to this show and many shows like us, I'm not trying to take credit for this. We were all telling you to be skeptical of this. Something's not right. Your instincts told you it seemed kind of fraudulent. Everything about it was fraudulent. But some people are just more gullible than others. And so today what we saw was finally Fauci had to stop with the spin because he's in serious legal jeopardy, or is he? And so I watched a good part of the hearing, and I heard him repeatedly. As you know by now, he invoked his Fifth Amendment privilege not to incriminate himself 111 times. By the way, that is not a record. There were some union reps back in the days that did it like 140 times when being questioned. And so now we've got this legal quandary of does he really have a Fifth Amendment privilege because he got this pardon? What his lawyers know, who, by the way, one of them was infamously kicked out of the hearing for being a wanker in the middle of the hearing and inappropriately behaving in front of a Senate body. So they had to get the sergeant at arms to take him out of there, which is great. But so does he have an actual pardon that covers anything he could say to Congress? He's possibly there's a stretch, but he could face state criminal charges. He could continue to face civil litigation. You can sue anybody for anything. There's lots of potential jeopardy, and I believe one of the reasons, out of an abundance of caution, he can't at all say a thing ever, is because it's possible that a future court could determine that his pardon in particular is not legitimate. We know it was signed with an auto pen, and we don't know if Biden even was aware of it. And there's no real rule for what kind of chain of evidence we would have to know that Biden was aware of the pardon, authorized the auto pen signature. We don't have evidence that he didn't. We don't have evidence that he did. Oh, yeah, let me say one more thing, and I got to pause all that to get this out there. Apparently, as many of you know, our radio tower was hit back during my road trip by lightning. One of those big lightning storms came and did damage to the antenna, which is up on the top. And today they're trying to do some repairs on it. So it's going to be sporadic on the FM signal. Now, if you're an FM listener, you're tripping out right now because you're probably hearing another signal, probably some music overtopping what used to be us. No, they haven't killed this yet. That could be next week, but they haven't killed this yet. What they're doing is when we take our signal down, sometimes you'll pick up a different signal that can encroach. That's just what the people trying to listen to FM are doing right now. I'm sure it's freaking people out. Our phone's ringing off the hook right now because, at the top of the hour, we get all these folks that pile in here at 2 o'clock, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. So do your best to try to find a way to listen to us digitally, especially over the next few days until this gets resolved. I love the old FM signal. It's the most powerful signal in the state, but it's in the world of reality and engineering and physics. And that thing has gone down, and they're doing their best to fix it. Hey, JD, I found out about how much it costs to pay somebody to climb the tower.
It's a lot of money.
I don't even want to say the number out loud. I was talking to our engineer about it. Frank told me the number, and my eyes popped out. So we have paid handsomely to try to get this thing back up and going. And it could happen during the course of this show, but they get to it when they can get to it, and they're working on it right now. So just stand by. Hopefully, somebody here will let me know if that is completed, and we'll get a green light, and I can let y'all know. Of course, you'll know when the signal's back. Hey, Jay, have I ever told you the story about the first time I ever saw somebody climb a tower?
in many of your stories, I think you did say that, but just go ahead and repeat it.
In case I've changed it any, because it does change as you get older. It gets better.
It was a stormy day.
All your stories.
It was like that.
I love being old. I'm getting there now. I can tell anything I want, and the fish gets bigger.
It was during the hurricane.
The girl gets prettier, and the food tastes better, and it's all nostalgia. So yeah, literally, I was about 12, 13. I just remember the coat I had on for some reason. I had this Air Force kind of jacket that I found and I loved and bought it at an Army surplus store. And I just thought I was the coolest kid in the 8th grade. So my dad tells me I didn't work in the radio yet, but my dad had a radio station and was involved in all that back then. And we had a tower out in the woods in Troup County, Georgia. It was only about 400 feet. It wasn't as big as ours. The one that's being climbed on behalf of Talk 99.5 is 1,000 feet. I can't imagine. And so we had to go out there, but the FAA, not the FCC, the FAA requires that you have these blinking red lights to warn the airplanes and any aircraft on your towers. Y'all have seen them going down the road at night. But, our light went out, and we were in violation, so you got to get that changed immediately. So I don't know where my dad found this guy, because I lived in a world full of, let's just say, Appalachian American engineers. Some people would just call that redneck engineering. You could get a good old boy that was brave enough to do just about anything. And I think that's what my cheap dad did. So we get out there, and this dude gets out of his truck. He doesn't have any company logos. My dad said, "You want to go see a crazy man climb a tower?" And I said, "Sure." He said, "Get in the car." So we drove out here. You had to go down this dirt road, past a couple of double wides. We get out in the middle of this field where our tower was. This guy gets out of his truck, and he hitches up his pants, AJ. My dad says, "You ready?" And he starts putting on this harness. And I thought, that's going to strap him to the tower. That was to hold the light bulb. He put the light bulb, or the big unit, whatever it was he had to put it in up there to change it out, on his back with basically this backpack harness thing. He reached over. He had already deployed all this. He reached over and grabbed a huge bottle of Jack Daniels. I'm not making this up. He turned it up like big time, just chugged like in a movie. Slammed it down on the ground, like on the rock it was sitting by, just slammed it. He looked at us, and AJ, he backed off. I went to get off the mic to do this. He goes, "Whoa!" He looked at this guy, psyching himself out, and he took off running, and he free climbed a 400-foot tower with no ropes, no cables, no harness. I think the statute of limitations with OSHA has expired. This dude went all the way to the top of this tower, 400 feet straight up. It's about the height of one of those big windmills you'll see out west. And he got up there and he did his work. He was up there about an hour, and he was throwing stuff off the top while he was working. And then he came climbing back down, and he was good. Do not underestimate the power of a hit of Jack Daniels Black Label. I'm just saying. Many people have developed their confidence from too much Jack Daniels Black Label. Because we can skin a buck, we can run a trot line. A country boy can survive. Okay, all right, that's enough of that. I'm gonna get back into Fauci in a minute, I swear, and then we'll get into all these other stories. I forgot to do that announcement right off the top. Tell you about our radio sits today. Y'all try to be patient with us. We're working on it. Actually, AJ and I aren't doing anything. We're doing the same thing we always do. Some crazy people are up on top of our tower right now trying to fix it.
Yeah, and I just posted on Facebook for those who can hear.
Yep.
You can always, and I know Leland's already just said that, but you can always find the link to our website and to the YouTube channel. You can watch us and listen to us there.
If you've never done digital, I mean, we're on most all of the digital platforms. Now, we have our own app, and that's the easiest thing. Download the app. It's all our stuff. It's right there. But some of the other apps that carry radio stations also have us on their apps, and y'all know all those apps. So just try to bear with us. And of course, there's a live stream button on the webpage too, if you want to go try that. All right, let's get the break in here, and then we'll come back and try to keep everything on track for the afternoon. Alabama Gold Refinery bringing you the show today. I was looking at the back and forth with the Iran war today and thinking about this because the Dow was really taking a dump. There's some more shooting after peace talks. Here we go again. And for people that sort of fear instability or government stuff or calamity or pandemics, or since we're talking about Fauci, sometimes you should have your assets parked in something that's going to have value no matter what stupid thing happens. And that's always been gold since the advent of gold, since the discovery of it. humans have valued gold. I don't know how many museums I've been in there. You got 3,000-year-old things with things made out of gold in these museums. And so humans just love it, and it keeps its value. Talk to Steve about how that works. But in the meantime, go see him at Alabama Gold Refinery in Homewood, AGR, alabamagoldrefinery.com. You can buy there. You can sell there. You can trade. He'll trade with you. Gold, silver, platinum, all the things, any kind of form you want. He's got it in all kinds of positions, all in that place. It's a nice exchange, centrally located in Homewood, across from the Regions Bank, right there on 29th. AGR, alabamagoldrefinery.com. All right, Trump's about to take questions, but let's get this break in here, AJ. We'll come back and hear a little bit of that. I'll monitor it while we're in the break. Yeah, I guess that song wound up in the rotation after I stopped in Raton that day. That was really cool to make that connection. All right, let's just dip into Trump real quick. He's taking questions. It's about Fauci. It's about Iran. This is big stuff. Let's take a listen.
To be the best in the world. As a Brit, that's really striking to me. You've had a couple of weeks to get to know our new Prime Minister. Have you spoken to him much? And do you think he is the man to lead us to excellency?
Well, he did say one very good thing. He said he's going to open up North Sea oil. If he does that, you're going to be a wealthy country. If he does it reasonably. I was telling Prime Minister Starmer, open up the North Sea. Open it up. You'll be okay. Open it up. They have two problems. They have a huge immigration problem, people coming from all over the world and just camping out in your country. And we've taken a very tough stand. In fact, for 14 months, nobody has come into our country. Zero, which is almost hard to believe, but that's what the report says. Our border has become very strong, and your border is very weak. He's got that problem. And he's got energy problem. He's got windmills all over the place. And anytime you see windmills, you see a failing country. and they're made in China, not used by China, but they're made in China. And you have a thing called the North Sea, and you buy a lot of your energy, as you know, from the North Sea. You buy from Norway, and Norway gets it from the North Sea. They get their oil from the North Sea, and Norway's got trillions of dollars in the bank, trillions. It sells its oil from the North Sea, and Scotland has a better part of the North Sea, and you have 500, 600, 700 years. You have areas of the North Sea that haven't even been explored yet. You have one of the most valuable oil finds anywhere in the world, and if the United Kingdom would use it, they'd be a wealthy country again. And I tell you what, I could not get Starmer to use it. It was incredible. Every oil company that I meet, and these are all big giants, every person that I know in the oil business said, please, could you open up the North Sea? Could you get them to open it? They're dying to do it. And if you open up the North Sea to the oil companies, Scotland, Ireland, the UK as a whole, but it's right in Aberdeen, Scotland. It's right in Aberdeen. And that would be one of the most vibrant. You know, it used to be called the oil capital of Europe. Aberdeen was the capital of Europe. And now it's, they don't drill oil. And nobody can understand why. You have it's among the finest oil, it's the best oil anywhere on the planet, and it's unbelievable plenty. You don't have to pay Norway triple what it costs them to take out. You have your own oil and gas. If you use the North Sea, the UK will be a really rich country. I cannot get the point across. The new gentleman, when I spoke to him, he said he's going to open up the North Sea. Let's see if that happens.
The Fed today voted to keep interest rates unchanged. Are you surprised by that? Are you disappointed in any way with Kevin Warsh?
No, Kevin's fantastic, but he's got a board. Yeah, Kevin's got a board. He's fantastic. He's a brilliant guy, smart. I know he'd love to see lower interest rates, but he's got a board, and it's a political board, and they want to keep rates up. But we fight through rates. We have the strongest investment ever made in a country, of any country. It was China about 13, 14 years ago. We have far greater, 19.2, even Jensen would say that's a lot. 19, and Jensen's spending a tremendous amount of money by hundreds of billions of dollars. He happens to be in the room. He's spending more than United, actually. Yes. Well, he's spending 10 billion, but Jensen's spending hundreds of billions, right? I don't know. That's not a bad business. But no, we have 19.2 trillion. It's the biggest number ever spent in any country by far. And that's over a period of 1 year. As an example, as you know, the Biden administration for 4 years did much less than 1 trillion. We're doing 19.2 trillion in 1 year. So we have
as much
things
as I
that are
love a
happening in
good
our country,
Trump
the likes
news
of which
conference, I
nobody
also
knows.
love staying on track. So let's do that. We'll take the bottom of the hour. We'll keep listening to this. This could go on for a minute. If there's more to be had, we'll talk about it on the other side of the bottom of the hour break. If you want to get in here and don't call us and tell us about the tower, we obviously know. We're doing our best to we're not doing a damn thing. I was just saying, AJ and I were just talking. But there's a crew up there trying to get this thing fixed, literally on the tower right now. That's part of the story. More on that, more on everything else. When we get back, Leland Live, y'all stay tuned. All right, it is 2:35. Trump's still going at it, and man, is he taking a bunch of questions? The Dow is down 1,000 points right now. Some of that is because they decided a little while ago not to change interest rates. Stock market always wants lower interest rates, so it's the fifth consecutive no change. So you've got uncertainty about Iran. You got all this going on. Let's take a listen. Some pretty good questioning going on right now, live in the White House with the president.
Leader John Thune, after the comments you heard regarding Save America and some other stuff, do you think he's still the man for the job?
Well, we're going to find out, and I'll let you know.
Mr. President, it was a beautiful service yesterday for Senator Graham, beautiful eulogy that you delivered. As far as Senator Darlene Graham is concerned, based upon your conversations, is she going to focus primarily on foreign affairs like her brother, or will she focus more on domestic issues?
I think domestic, really. I've spoken to her a lot, and she's much more focused on domestic, including costs and pricing.
And
I think she'll be outstanding.
Jay Clayton, he was just confirmed by the Senate.
Yeah, he's great.
Would you like to see him continue with Bill Pulte's work at exposing election?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm sure he will. Bill did a great job, and Jay has just been confirmed. And you know, he's outstanding. He was the head of Sullivan and Cromwell for many years, and he's very outstanding. And I think he's going to do a fantastic job. And Bill was great. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, in light of advanced ChatGPT AI models escaping their lab and conducting cyber attacks, are you considering stronger controls on AI, and would you consider negotiating
Well, we're
regulations?
looking at AI. We're looking at controls. We're also making sure that we lead. So we're leading China in AI by a lot. China has virtually no controls. It's freewheeling a little bit. So we have to be careful in both ways. We don't want to restrict them, where all of a sudden we come in second to China. Whoever wins with AI is going to win. That's how big it is. So it's bigger than the internet ever was. It's bigger than anything ever was. So I don't want to restrict. I know many of these people. I don't want to restrict them from doing great work. Yeah, please.
Under what scenario do you see Iran attacking U.S. installations and personnel overseas and you withdrawing? Or
I don't see that. No, we're not. No, we're gonna hit him very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
Mr. President, will you hit back when they strike?
Will I always hit back?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Mr. President, just on a point of clarity on that, sir, is that in response to the attempted ballistic missile strike on Jordan last night? When you say it's our turn to
Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000 mile-an-hour missiles at us. And fortunately, we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it. 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Nobody else could do that but us, yeah.
Can I ask, how was your meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky yesterday?
It was good.
Did you see a time scale?
No, it was good. Look, you know, he's out doing his thing. I'd like him to end the war. So it's very simple. I get along with both. I get along with President Putin. I get along with President Zelensky. Like I told him, I wanted to end the war, get the war ended. Thousands of people, 25,000 people died last month. That's standard. And it's not acceptable. So I said, just end the war.
Mr. President, on the war, do you want the House to come back before August 31st to act on the Russia and Iran sanctions bill after?
Well, if it's necessary. I mean, it shouldn't be necessary, to be honest. But if it's necessary, I'd like to. Are you talking about the Lindsey Graham?
Yeah.
So I'd like them to add Iran as tariffs, not just as sanctions. I think it's important. That's what Lindsey wanted. Because I heard that they have tariffs on Russia, but not on those 5 countries with having to do with Iran. I'd like to see tariffs on Iran. It would make it much stronger. So perhaps you're very good at this. You can maybe tell them. I think they should put in for Russia, but I think they should put in for Iran. And that's really what Lindsey wanted. Yep.
And on Iran, one more, sir. Sorry.
And good job at the dinner the other night.
Thank you.
Did a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. President Xi told you that China would not give or sell Iran any weapons. And there's a new report that Iran's about to get 400 rocket launchers from China going through Pakistan to Iran.
Well, that would be surprising. I mean, things like that happen, but that would be surprising. He told me very strongly he wouldn't partake, and he knows I'd be quite disappointed. Yeah, please.
Mr. President,
And he's coming here, I think, on September 24th.
two questions. First, we're coming up on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, and a good number of 9/11 families have called on New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani to not attend a number of these memorial services. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think they're having a hard time with Mamdani. The people having to do with anybody having to do with 9/11 right now, on the victim side, and there are a lot of them, they're very unhappy with what's going on in New York, and they're very unhappy with the mayor. I understand that. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Republicans are underway in negotiating the budget. Would you sign a CR without the Save America Act attached? Is that something you want to see?
I'll have to look at it, but they should get to Save America. How simple can it be? Voter identification, proof of citizenship. I mean, now you have to understand the Democrats. Not one Democrat will sign because they want to cheat. There's no way they can get elected if they don't. If that happens, but we should have unanimous Republican support. And if we don't, people should look at those Republicans. But think of it: who would not sign voter identification with photo, and who would not sign proof of citizenship? Only people that want to cheat. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we bring it back here as Trump wrapped that up. Lots going on today, and of course, the president wisely choosing that opportunity for later in the day, as of course, early in the day, everything was about Fauci. So, and I'll probably go through my thoughts on that several times as we move through the afternoon. 545-9950 is the phone number, and let's see, I'm trying to get some. Okay, Ryan was just letting us know about the tower update. Yeah. Try to listen to us on digital. The work's going on the FM tower, and we'll let you know when we know. AJ, you think it'll be today?
I'm not sure, but I did already made a message on Facebook. I was trying to do that on Instagram, but you got to put up pictures and all that other stuff. Well, and I posted it on Twitter as well too. So letting people know where you can find us.
What will happen first? They will find the Hank the Bear, or we'll get our tower up before 6 o'clock.
Well, we already had a sighting of Hank the Bear already, so
yeah, that's true. But I mean, they'll capture Hank.
I don't think they need to capture Hank. Hank is chilling. He ain't bothering nobody.
Yeah, but people are freaked out. I was hearing from somebody yesterday that got their dogs locked up. They're afraid their dog's gonna go out there and try to, because dogs don't know. They'll just go with the bear.
Right.
They'll just try to get at the bear, and then the bear will be like, "Swat," and then the dog will be gone.
Well, it's a black bear, so it mainly will be like, "Oh, okay, let me get out of here. Yeah, let me go ahead and move on." And
yeah, I hope so, because they are by nature they're just timid. I mean, they're not trying to hurt anybody.
Yeah, he's just trying to find his way. He a teenager.
The bear's like, ain't gonna hurt nobody. Get on sniffing y'all. Y'all remember that song?
Me some trash.
That's such a good song.
Yeah, and lock your cars.
Well, that's people closer to downtown Birmingham already do that. 1,100 points on the Dow right now. I'm watching a sudden drop. Again, it's a combination of things. Oh, I'm just hearing it's back now from Ryan. Are we back up? Are we back up? Are we back up?
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah. The tower is up. Brought to you by Alabama Men's Clinic. Good, just helping Andrew out there. Yeah, there you go. Fauci, let me get this off my chest about Fauci. And again, my take may be a little bit different than what you've heard today. Because a lot of folks, we're all saying the same thing. He took the fifth 111 times. Of course he did. This guy's in a hell of a box, but he's also not. He's kind of above reproach because of the fake pardon, but he's also, anything he says is contradictory to everything that was in that diary that he kept, which is recorded and admissible and is a perjury trap. Not to mention things he said when the perjury went back to 2014. Now, the senators did about as good as they could knowing he was going to do this. And by the way, I heard some national hosts talking about, I predicted this, he was going to do this. Everybody in the damn world knew that he was going to plead the fifth. It doesn't take a legal genius to know that. This was the strategy. Now, then there was Josh Hawley in the middle of the hearing doing things like, because every question, no matter what the question, he would say, on advice of counsel, I reserve my right to, invoke my Fifth Amendment protections or whatever the quote was. And he would do it over and over again. It became absurd. But Hawley started saying, what color tie are you wearing? What color is the carpet in front of you? We've seen that before. That's getting passed around like Hawley was clever. Here's what Hawley knows and the Republicans knew. He can't do it. If he answers any question I'm not defending Fauci. I'm just explaining the dynamic. If Fauci answers any question, it could be seen as waiving privilege. Because I've seen this before depositions, and I've seen this myself as a reporter in a courtroom where this kind of thing was going down. You just don't want to give any indication that you're going to talk at all. And by the way, if any of y'all ever get arrested, just a little tip here. Not that I've been arrested, but if any of y'all ever get arrested, you stick to that. If you decide that you're not going to speak without counsel to protect yourself from incrimination, don't say anything else. Lawyers out there nodding their heads. Okay, so that's just, it's a lawyer thing, and there are a lot of lawyers, too many lawyers in the Senate as it is. So that leads me to talk about that this whole thing was pure theater like we always get from Congress. It was good that Fauci was embarrassed. It was good that he had to face national attention and scrutiny, that the record somehow, because of the statements by the Republicans into the record about what all the conflicts were and what all what all Fauci did to us with COVID, all that it's on the record, but it sort of reestablished it and gave it another punctuation point. But the mainstream media that were the people, again, that handed out the old proverbial Kool-Aid. By the way, somebody on X added to, or one of the social media sites said that it was not actually Kool-Aid that Jim Jones handed out. Kool-Aid got a bad rap. AJ, it was Flavor Aid. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That's what us poor kids drank because we couldn't afford Kool-Aid.
But, I mean, that's just, I mean, it's like, that's, I mean, it's still, Kool-Aid, unfortunately, got the blowback for it.
Kool-Aid is the associated with the product just like Band-Aid is with an adhesive strip.
Right.
Or Xerox is with a copy machine. It's just one of those brands. A Kleenex is with a snot tissue. It's just some brands get that big. Mm-hmm. Even in the South, we call every soft drink a Coke. I mean, so Kool-Aid does get a bad rap. But even that, even if we take that point, AJ, Jim Jones was more conscious of the money he was spending before he killed all those people with the cyanide because he bought the less expensive brand to kill all those people. I was just saying, he did a better job budgeting than Fauci. It cost us a lot of money for Fauci to kill all those people. It was millions.
Now, were there some skeptics back then? Like, I don't really do Flavor Aid.
Yeah. Y'all got any strawberry? I'm not a grape guy.
Yeah, my doctor said I'm not really supposed to drink anything that has strawberries in it.
Do you have sugar-free?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have metrosexual soy bitches back then. They were just drinking the Kool-Aid, man. Your grandma could hand you a glass of Kool-Aid with 3 pounds of sugar in it, and all the parents said, drink up. Nobody was paranoid about what we were ingesting. So, back to Fauci. So my biggest takeaway is this was a lot of sound and fury today, as we kind of thought. And again, I'm split. I'm glad they had the moment. I'm glad he was called on the carpet, but there will be no repercussions based on today's hearing. Now, Rand Paul says that what they did was they did this to create the conflict of Fauci invoking the Fifth. Thus, does he have a Fifth Amendment privilege after a pardon? The law precedent says he does not. But we've never been in this situation before. And it could even lead to a predicate to test whether even the pardon was legit to begin with, which we all believe it was not, because Biden didn't know what day it was, as is evidenced by the Biden tapes that are now out in the public where he didn't have a memory at all, actually. So that's to be vetted. But here's the process would be for contempt of Congress, which Rand Paul says he's going to do. You got to have 60 votes in the Senate, because the Democrats are going to filibuster. It's a full vote of the Senate. And I don't think there's even a reconciliation because it's not a budget matter. There's no way to reconcile that and get it with a lower standard. And I'm not even sure all the Republicans would stick together anyway. And even if you did do it, there has to be a second round of voting based on the punishment or to create a criminal referral to justice based on the contempt. So there's a lot that has to be done that I'm dubious that this particular Senate, right ahead of the midterms, as the session of the Senate will be expiring before you know it, will actually get this done with all the other pressing business that they're already ignoring, that this Fauci contempt will ever get the light of day. But they got to pretend that they're fighting, so they keep doing it. Just like the wrestlers that you see on TV, you got the good guy wrestlers and the bad guy wrestlers, and they pretend. They actually do throw each other around, but the whole thing's according to a script. And so we all kind of knew today what today would be, and it was exactly what we thought. But it was quite a spectacle when they threw the attorney out. Now, let me throw these thoughts in. I'll tease you with this. We need to get to the break. But something profound really hit me, and we've talked about it before, but it really hit me listening to that today. The biggest damage, the biggest thing that went wrong in this country during that weird period of this country, the biggest thing that went wrong the whole time, and really I think it began with the BLM riots in that same time period. But it was we started losing our ability to question authority. Every single thing, when it was when the mainstream thinking was questioned, there was a whole machine in place to tell you that you were a bigot, you were narrow-minded, you were a flu bro. How many invectives did they come up with to put on people if they questioned if they brought up ivermectin, the vaccines, the mask, the distancing, the shutdown, the spending, the virus itself, the origin of virus? All of that was slapped down. Now, of course, social media was completely controlled by corporate monopolies, and but you had the government itself doing it. You had our own governor, a Republican governor, many Republican governors. All these Republicans are getting credit for having free states. 2 states acted responsibly with your freedom, and that was South Dakota and Florida. The rest of them had their heads up their asses. They followed the advice of these healthcare bureaucrats and shut down your freedom. You couldn't go to church. You couldn't go see Mama die in the hospital, and you were told not to question it. Your boss at work said, don't question it. You got to bring your ID card in here that you got the shot or you don't have a job. And we went into this groupthink obedience posture that is un-American. The most American thing in the world is to question your government. Let me say that again. And please, Jesus, teach it to your kids and your grandkids. The most American thing you can do is to question your government at all times about everything. Climate change, medicine. There is no such thing as science that can't be questioned. If it can't be questioned, it's not science. And we're told to shut up and go along. And that's how you wind up in a boxcar in Germany heading to the camps. That's how you wind up trying to run for your life from the gulag in the Soviet Union. That's how you wind up starving to death in Cuba, is when you quit questioning. And you're afraid of being called a name or put upon or ostracized because you're bold enough to stand there and go, no, this ain't right. This is not right. Even if you don't even know, your gut is probably more accurate than these bastards that were running over us that way. They ran slap over this country. And luckily we lived long enough to see the truth come out. And a bunch of us were screaming every single day about this, and it just wasn't right. We didn't have the information we have now, but we already knew. All right, I got more to say. We cannot allow the death of questioning our government again. We can't. And that was all through that whole period. Back here in just a minute, Leland Live. All right, y'all, 256, Leland Live, Talk 99.5, Storm Restoration Roofing next up here on the show. That is my friend Greg Nelson and his remarkable company that can get any kind of roof project you need done. He'll be hanging out at my property. I think we're getting closer to that part where he'll come put the roof on this extension we're adding on. And I'm looking forward to him doing it because, you know, sometimes when you're dealing with a project like this, there are layers and layers and layers. I'm dealing with different people coming and going, and I don't have those kind of relationships. But I know the day Greg rolls up and I see those storm restoration trucks, it's going to be done right. And it's going to look good, and it's going to last for a long time. And if I had an emergency, which is why I'm trying to tell you, get ready to jot his phone number down because you're going to be trying to find me. People do it all the time on social media, and I don't mind. I just admit that I'm slow about responding on social media, and sometimes I don't see it because I'm just not on there that much that way. And so you'll need this number if you do wind up in a sitch after a storm or in a situation where you just really need help. So I'm going to give you that number. I'm giving you a little time to get ready for it. So whether it's a new install or a replacement, Greg's ready to come do it with finance companies ready to help you with any of the out-of-pocket offset costs, which could be a huge deductible or it could be the project itself. Greg's there to help. They have a complete system to interface with all of the adjusters and insurance companies because when it comes to that is just a bunch of paperwork. You've got to have everything buttoned up because it's too easy for the insurance companies to want to deny that claim unless you can make your case properly and not some fly-by-night roofing company shyster way of trying to flim-flam your insurance company. These smart adjusters are going to see right through that. You could get your policy dropped if you don't file a legit claim. So do it the right way with the help and advice of Greg and his team at Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531. Let me see if I can get Bill in here. We got about a minute, and then we'll get to the top of the hour. I want to give Bill the first shot here on the phones. Bill, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I was just listening about your comment on questioning government. I agree with you. We need to question, but let me ask you one just for grins and groans. I mean, can you name me a time here recently where you have seriously questioned Mr. Trump?
Oh yeah, I mean, even recently on the Iran war, there are lots of questions about how that's going to go. Questioning doesn't mean you have the answer; it means you want the answer, right? It doesn't mean you're even right with your skepticism. But when government feels unapproachable, when they feel like they're not going to be scrutinized, whether it's Fauci or Trump or some bureaucrat at a water board somewhere ripping people off, they'll get away with stuff. So we have to constantly. Our birthright from our founding was to be skeptical of everything these people we've given power to do. And I'll question anything Trump does when I see that I have a question. But when I support him, I'll support him.
Well, and that's fair. I just wanted to.
And Bill, you got to say, I give the Republicans a pretty hard time with a lot of questions myself. Okay.
Oh, something.
Hang on, Bill. I'll tell you what. I don't know if he had a chance to really finish, and I want him to be able to finish. Hang in there, Bill. We'll go back to that. That's important. Back here in a minute. Leland Live.